record this. All right. Do you want me to share the screen right away?
For me? Yeah.
Okay.
I
I
think
have
I
to make
can.
you I have to make you a co-host.
Okay. How many we got with us this afternoon?
3, 6, 7, 7, 8. And there were a couple more. There's a couple of people are sick.
Yeah, what did I do? Do people not like me? I know you guys. How many you guys have in the group, in the study group?
35, something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, you're a co-host. You can go ahead and do your thing.
Fantastic. All right, you guys can see my
Yep.
my bubble picture.
Yeah, wow.
Thought we'd have a little fun with that. So that's actually one of those bubbles you blow up, so it's up close and personal.
Hmm.
Any of you guys shot any of that before?
No.
So what you can do is get a little mixture of your typical bubbles, or you can use dish soap too. That works. Put it in a dish. And I would suggest, it depends. You can play with different size dishes, but you want to have a low side on it, not too high. And then if you want to add a little glycerin in there, which what the glycerin does is it allows the bubbles to stay longer for many minutes so that you can actually photograph it. So you get a good mixture in there, and then you just zoom in, and that's actually photographing the surface of the bubble.
Wow.
And it'll start blues and purples, and then you see at the top how it has the orange, and it slowly fades from the top and comes down, and then it'll pop. But if you blow on it a little bit, all those swirls start moving. So this is actually the surface of those bubbles, even though they look clear. But when you get in close like that, it just has some amazing effects on it. So it's a lot of fun. And then you want to light it up with something. I usually have a diffused light over the top of it, and then shoot it from straight on. So maybe we can have some fun with that, like an online thing or something. Do some crazy. I do light painting, macro light painting, and bubbles, and it could be something that you guys at home can play with. So something to think about.
Okay.
Okay. So great images. Thanks for sharing. It was such a wonderful experience. I hope you guys had some fun, enjoyed it. We had really good weather, so it was great. And with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So I went as typical. I just went alphabetical, like we did in school back in the day, right? So everyone's kind of used to that kind of process. So first up, of course, is one of your leaders there. So Adrian, I know you had a lot of fun. Maybe just give us a little background on your setup, what your approach was here, what you were thinking and try to accomplish, what caught your eye, those kind of things. Just give us some background on your shot here.
Well, first of all, I was using a brand new camera, so that was like fun for me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to give it a workout. So I was looking based on the webinar at shapes and texture. And this was on one of the boats. And what caught my eye first was the teal color inside there. And I actually didn't realize it had this much texture until I saw it on my computer screen. I mean, I knew it had some, and there was some rust in there and on top. And the challenge was deciding what to include of the other stuff, like the railing and the base of the whatever smokestack or thing this was. And there was a rope in there and a lot of shadows. So there were lots of different lines, and I just decided this was the right amount of stuff to include. There was a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love how you in your description there, how you talked about, well, what do I need to not include, right? So we talk about this we talked about this a little bit before, the difference between a photographer and a painter, right? Is paint, you're creating the whole canvas, and what's important for photography is what are we going to eliminate, right? There's the whole scene, our eye can see all this, and so what are we going to take away? And I really like your choice on this because it really simplifies this image, and we're drawn to that green and that pipe, which is I'm assuming is your subject as you described, and the great circle here, right? Like, let's see if that works. Oh, I guess that's not right. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Jumping ahead. Let's see. Yeah, why won't it write? I'm trying to draw on your picture here. So anyways, we'll just describe it. So the circle, right, of that vent or whatever that is, right? And the color in there, and look at the texture in there, how awesome that is with the paints kind of peeling. And then we've got some rectangles in there, right, going across different layers. I really like your choice of what you eliminated here to really make that pop. And the lighting is beautiful on this. The one thing maybe is that little hook in the upper right there that's on that plain white, whatever that is. Can you guys see this right here? Can you see my?
Yeah,
So this right here,
there you go.
you know, maybe cloning that out, but this circle is awesome. I was drawing on my actual, so this circle is great, right? And then you got the rectangles in here, right? All that stuff going across here and multiple rectangles, going back to the shape, right? So, but maybe this guy right here, maybe it's not super distracting. I know it's part of the image, but it might be a little bit better if it wasn't in there.
Okay.
Just a suggestion. But outside of that, I just think it's great. You could also maybe crop, you know, maybe across here a little bit, or actually, I think I can do that here. Let's try that. And just bringing that down just maybe a little bit. Oh, that's not the full box. We want the full box. Here we go. So just maybe just eliminating a little bit more.
Okay.
Something like that, just as a suggestion. I don't mind it. It's not something that's super critical, but see how that really even draws your eye even more a little bit. But it's something nitpicky, but maybe in something like that, maybe. And then, you know, but outside of that, I mean, it's just really a great shot. Your focus is great. I just think the design of it, also having that vent off center, I think is key too, right? And it's looking into the picture space versus being in the center or being on the right side. The viewer's eye is going to lead more out of the picture if it's that way. So I think compositionally, you set this thing up phenomenally. So very nice, very, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have any questions or anything you wanted to add to?
I
to
played
that?
with the idea of cropping it as a square, but I
Yeah.
thought leaving the space in front of it, I was thinking about it almost like a dog or a person, that it was looking over there and needed some space. So I left it as a rectangle.
Yeah, I don't think that's as powerful, right?
Right.
See what
I
I'm saying?
agree. Yeah.
Right? So I think that's a good choice. Not that that's not a bad image there itself, right? That's fine. But I like that you made that choice, and it's something additionally to shoot, right? I talk about that a lot. Is, you know, shoot it this way. When's the best time to take a vertical? After your horizontal, right? Or
Right.
try different angles. Try adding more. Now, obviously, in post, you can go there and you can play and you can crop, right? That's one thing too. You can't get elements back into the picture space that he excluded. So sometimes doing an overall shot of your, you know, scene, which with a little bit more, which I think you probably cropped to this a little bit, you know, and so then deciding, right? And I think your decisions were great. I think they were well warranted. So it's a very nice image. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. That was great. Is that helpful, Adrian? Some of
Yeah.
those suggestions?
Yeah.
I mean, do you see what I mean? Just a little bit, not that it doesn't, it's fine the way it is, right? But maybe just taking a little bit off, because we want more of the concentration on that vent with the blue. I think that's
Right.
but everything else plays really nice in it. And the light was so great then, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Very nice. All right. And then we got Brenda. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, when I see all
This
these
is
advanced
yeah,
photographers,
same
I
thing
don't
I
know
asked
how
you. Yeah, go ahead. Same thing I asked Adrian. This is I love this image. So yeah, talk to us a little bit about what what was going through your mind and what you're trying to accomplish and those kind of things.
I think Todd, we worked a little bit with me on this, in that
Mhm.
I had more in the photograph, and you said, try and zero in more on the lines and the texture, and of course the color of the photograph, as opposed to trying to get a huge scene. And so what I did was I zeroed in a bit, and this is what I came up with.
What do you think?
I never like what I do, so
I'm with you. I'm with you.
no, I just don't. But or it's rare that I do. But I think the composition is pleasing.
Yeah. But see what a difference it makes, right? You filled your frame with it.
Yeah.
And and that's that background question, does it add to or take away? So you can even think of that as other elements. Are these elements adding to what my subject is, what I'm trying to accomplish, or is it distracting? Do I want it part of the story or do I not want it part of the story, right? So, it's different if you're running a series of, like a triptych or something where you have 3 images and you want to show this, this, and this, and you're getting in closer. But when it's an overall just one image, like you have to decide, well, how much do I want to eliminate? What do I want to include? The texture, the side light's awesome in those lines. And I know we were playing a little bit like, do we straighten them? Do we have them on an angle? Do we, what do we do? And I just think that this is a nice flow without those curving lines, right? We talked about rigid lines, verticals and horizontals, but then oblique curving lines give you just kind of a sense of motion in the picture space. And I think you captured that here. And the blue is really nice. I mean, you could play with this for a while. One suggestion maybe, and this isn't anything major, is this space up here, maybe kind of getting it somewhat close to the bottom right, taking just maybe a little bit off to bring it in like that, maybe just play. I don't know if that's perfect, but playing with it, right? Where that might make sense, maybe keeping your same ratio. But and I'm okay with the space up there, but it is on the weight side, it's more weighted towards the bottom right versus that. So that's just a nitpick thing, just something to think about. How much of these boards, or including a little bit more on the lower right and positioning it in. Those are just little things to tweak it. But other than that, your exposure is really good. Your all of that. The color's great. The focus is great. I just think overall it's a very nice image.
Thank you.
It's one of those semi-abstracts, right? I mean, how many you wouldn't know it's plastic. You might think it's wood boards. I mean, you kind of have an idea, but I think it's really cool. And then you could, if you have more space, I don't know if this is what you shot out of the camera or not, but you could try tilting it a little bit and just see how moving those lines closer to straight across or closer to more vertical, just see how it feels. I really like the flow of it. So I'm just saying, you know, shoot more when you're out there shooting, shoot different angles. That way, when you get back on these larger screens, you can say, oh, I really like that, or, oh no, that one's terrible, right? But those are ways to keep improving your images by, because with digital photography, it's not costing anything to shoot a couple more pics. So that's just a little lesson for you guys, that when you're out there, change your angles a little bit, try a different variety of the same subject. And you never know, all of a sudden you might be led down this road and you go, oh my gosh, look at that, look at that, look at that. And then all of a sudden the aha goes, oh my God, that's amazing, right? Those kind of things. So playing and taking your time to work the subject a little bit, I think will be very helpful. And then as you get more seasoned, which I don't know. I'm still waiting for that to happen to me. So but then your eye is trained to those type of images, and you know what you want, and you get in there and you just shoot it, and then so that's when you're really cooking with gas. So just some thoughts for you guys on that. But
Thank you.
great stuff. Thanks for sharing. I love it. Did you want to add anything to that, Brenda? Or
No, I just appreciate all the comments, and
yeah, okay, good.
I appreciate your suggestion. I think you're absolutely right to take a little more off on the left, so it looks a little more balanced.
A little bit more. I think it's okay, but it's just, and that's something easy to do, right? Or you could add more space at the bottom right. I mean, I don't know if you have that in here, but when you're composing in your camera, maybe shoot, one that's more grand out a little bit and you can crop in. I don't really like to sell the cropping thing, but it's a reality. Like, I mean, we want to have the best possible image in the camera, but we also want to be able to have some options maybe later too. So I love
Is
it.
is that part of the playground, Brenda?
Yes. Don't ask me what part.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the south facing part where we first walked
Yeah.
over there. It was right there. All those boards were sitting there. And I believe those were straight across, right? Those.
Yeah, I think they were straight
Yeah.
across.
Yeah. But look at how there's a little bit of a curve in there, the way that is. I just think it's got a nice flow to it. Very nice. The other thing to think about too is like, where are these knots in these boards? I know it's plastic, right? But where are you going to position that lower knot down here, right? This one here. So, I think it's great there, but maybe there's room over here and we try it up here, we try it up here, we try it in the center. Those are other things to think about as you're composing, right? So that's a different element in there. We have the rectangles, we have the thin rectangles, we have the wider rectangles in blue, but we also have that circle. We also have the grain in there to think about too. So those are some things to consider as you're composing. Cool.
Thank you.
All right, Doris.
Mhm.
Look
Oh.
at that.
Wow,
It's beautiful.
that's great.
That was
All right,
just
Doris.
luck. I was just shooting through the hole.
You
and the
had to
little girl
see it.
happened to pass
No, you had
through.
to see it, Doris. Don't
Yeah.
belittle the concept here.
Beautiful.
Well,
I
your
love
vision,
it.
your vision was there, and then look, we got a little sweet surprise right in the middle, right? So give us, like I talked to with Brenda and Adrian, talk to us about as you approach the shot and what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe give us a little background of what you were trying to come up with here.
I liked all the bright colors, and I was happy that the little girl was there. And I had to do a little post-processing. There were a lot of bright highlights from the sunshine. So I tried to clone some of the blue or spot healing brush. I probably missed a few spots.
Now, you didn't do this on an iPhone, on a smartphone.
I took it on a smartphone, but I worked on it in Photoshop Elements
Gotcha.
and Picasa.
Yeah, how awesome is that? See, everybody says, "Oh, I need an expensive camera." You don't. Well, I can't say the phone's not expensive, so there's that.
It was my first time with a Samsung phone. So,
Yeah, so
I had a camera with me too, but most
Yeah.
of the good shots came from the phone.
So a little lesson there, right? Yeah, and I might have told you guys, I'm honestly on this trip, the 2.5 weeks I was down there, I had my 200-600 on my my mirrorless camera, and everything else I shot with my phone.
Hmm.
I never changed lenses, and I do that quite often because of the ability of these phones today. Be able to handle those wider. Now, if I'm shooting macro, that's a whole other thing. I'll put a macro lens on and that type of stuff, even though the phones can handle some of that. But for the most part, being down there where you guys are, I mean, the 200-600 or a 100-500, if you have a Canon, whatever it is. But the phone does an amazing job, really does. So you did a great job with the highlights, because I really don't see anything that's jumping out. Well, the little trick, and I talked to you guys about the slobby, right? Subject, light, background, edges, and the edges, the one part of the edges I talk about a lot is closing your eyes and then opening it. Where does my eye go? Now, if there's a bright white sunspot, my eye's going to go there, right? And so the question is, do you want it to go there? Probably not. So let's eliminate it. And you did a good job cloning those out or healing them, whatever, you know, whatever the tool is. What I love about it is, aren't you just drawn into that tunnel and you come to that beautiful girl and
Mhm.
her positioning
Yeah.
with her left foot kind of up, like she's moving, and her right hand on the railing. I mean, that is perfect.
Mhm.
Where she is, you feel her moving through that picture space instead of just standing there with both arms on the railings would be a little different feel. But it helps you as you draw through that. You guys feel that as you draw through
Yeah.
this tunnel and you get her, but then you're like, where's she going? If she was just standing there facing you, you would stop at her, right? But you're continuing through like it's an adventure in there. I love that feeling of it. Love it. And what you included on the sides and the bottom, beautiful. I think maybe we could maybe just for additional love is maybe, you know, we could maybe take a little bit off the top,
Mm,
you know, as
Yes.
another option.
almost a square.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge square, you know, there's a lot up there, right? And
Okay.
it adds to, but does all that add to the picture space,
Mm.
right? To the subject. So I'm not saying cut it to a square, which is fine, but I'm saying maybe a little bit there, you know, just something to think about.
Hmm.
Though I like it up there, you know, but I think just as a tweak is maybe bringing it down, something like that. Because we don't want to get lost up there. Our focus is through the tunnel and the beautiful girl that's walking. And then the complementary colors, that's why I absolutely love this playground, because the yellow and blue goes together, right? Like orange and blue and purple and, you know, orange and those kind of things. They all complement each other. So it's very pleasing to the eye. But what a great capture. I mean, you got good focus here. This is a phone, right? iPhone, is that what you use? Oh no, Samsung.
Samsung.
Yeah, but look, you got great focus in here. Look, all beautiful pastel-y in here and everything and nice, but look at how sharp this is. Great light coming in. This blue here adds, you know, helps add to it because it could be some distracting stuff up there. So I think your choice of what to include, what not to, and your distance away from that portal or whatever that little hole is really nice. I think it's a great shot.
Thank
I
you.
actually like all the blue on top because then you can really tell
Up
this
here.
is a tunnel.
Yeah.
I thought about eliminating the blue line on the ceiling, but with extra work.
Which one? This one?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's okay in there. I don't. I'm not distracted by it or anything because it gives me a sense of, oh, that's a canopy over the top, right? Or whatever. I think it's okay. I see what
Okay.
you're saying. If it's not there, is it maybe a little bit better? Maybe, right? But it's reality, right? That's something that's in there. I don't think you could position yourself anywhere to eliminate it without adjusting too much. You know, one of the other nitpicks is maybe this little spot right here. You see my
Mm.
cursor?
Yeah.
And the way you could eliminate that is just by raising the camera up just a hair, right? And shooting down a little bit more. But that's now we're just picking away, right? Same with
Mhm.
this little thing here. But that's not, when you guys look at this, you close your eyes and look at it, where does your eye go? It goes right to her,
Yeah.
right? And that's absolutely where you want the viewer's eye to go, no?
Yep.
Doris, right? So, and everything else adds to it, but nothing's distracting in there. Not even the trees back here or the pole, none of that, because all the focus is in there. So I really
I
enjoy
like
it.
taking a picture of children, but I guess you always have to ask permission now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's hard.
But this, you don't have to worry, no face, right?
Right. Or she didn't see me do it.
Yeah, well, and you should, you know, you always want to be concerned. The other thing is maybe edges right here, this little, I'm just nitpicking, this thing
Mm,
is just clipped off. So either moving in a little bit or including it, it's just kind of a little thing. It's nothing.
Okay, thank you. That's
But
good.
but really cool shot, really cool. I mean, who would have thought we would have been shooting a playground, right?
Mm.
Like this, I mean, we had some fun there. We definitely had fun. All right, Eileen.
She's not here, but she wants you to review the picture.
All right, let's ask her. What were you thinking? No. Awesome. So same thing, right? We're in the same playground. Really cool shot. Look at how it's really, you would not know what this is, right? Super abstract. It would be interesting to talk to her a little bit about, how she discovered this and what was thinking, and I can talk about maybe what I think it is, right? Does anybody know where this is or what this is?
I think there were a lot of holes in the plastic in the playground.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's one of those poles, right? One of the poles.
Underneath.
Yeah, so let's go back. Let's see if we can go back here. Yeah, to this one. So I'm thinking it's one of these, or, here's those holes, right? You see my
No.
cursor?
At the bottom of the playground, there were real holes drilled in the plastic. And I
Oh,
shot
okay.
through it to get
So
the
those I did
leaves.
not see. But these are the sun coming through is what I'm guessing. But
Right.
anyways, yeah. So I love her positioning of this, right? I think this is the predominant element in here, which is a nice vertical triangle in here, right? And then you've got the circle elements in here, which are the light coming through, shining on that. And this is a nice, good, sharp focus. And then you can tell that this is a little further away, right? They're a little staggered. But I really like the positioning. Couple suggestions. I'm not sure about the angle up here of this, whether it adds to or not. Maybe moving in and filling it. I don't know if that's something you can eliminate up there. But also maybe, the other suggestion would be maybe I think I can do, just maybe take a little bit more off. I don't know. I'm just trying to play. I kind of like that in there though. But if you take that away, it takes everything away from it. So, but I like these positionings here. There's some negative space here, which is nice. So a couple more of those circles in here might fill that in a little bit. But I really like the focus in this. I don't know if that's the shining of the paint. I mean, it's so abstract, and it doesn't make you just kind of keep wandering around the image space and just trying to dissect it in your brain, because that's what's so great about abstracts, is that if you were never there and you guys had described where this might have been shot, you would never know. You'd never know what this is. So really cool shot. There's some brightness in here. I know probably not a lot of definition in there. So playing with the exposure a little bit, making sure that your histogram is within those parameters. You're not clipping the highlights on the right, or I mean, there's not too much shadow on the left, but just making sure that you're in there so that if you want to bring out some of that detail. But I think overall it's a nice, pleasing image. But those couple things, like, I don't know how much this is adding to it, right? You guys see that? The blue up there. If there's a little bit more, if it's more in here, then it might be a little bit more included. Or if you had the same over here that balanced it, right? Or you had another one down here that kind of replicated it, it would add a little bit more. Do you guys see where I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
As a balance kind of thing. Because I think if you take that out and cut across, you lose a lot of the image, and it just doesn't speak, anything great. So, but with that being said, you could also think about this as two images too. So let's just cut it right in half and look at it, right? Now look at that.
Oh.
Different, right? A little bit more balance, right? Let's go the other way. Oh, maybe a little bit more here. Let's try this. But something like that. Probably not as powerful. I like the other way better.
Me too.
but coming right, so we're going like right in the middle, right? Look at that, or even maybe even a little bit more. Right? So
Yeah.
now that corner up there has more weight to it and it feels like it really belongs. You guys get that?
Mhm.
So just some things to think about when you're composing, you know, and maybe even including a little bit more of these dots or a little bit more up here. But just some ways to, you know, suggestions to maybe improve it, get a little bit more balance on it. I still think it's a good image as it is here. But I think we can improve it by how much is this playing in there. I really like that. I like the vertical she has, because you could also just have the vertical, right?
Sounds good.
So just some things for you guys to look at, right? Maybe, you know, you could go a little less like that. It's still that corner still, you know, the question I ask is it adding to or taking away? Is it adding to your subject? Right? So I think with cutting it in half and making it 2 pictures, and I see this a lot, and I have the same thing sometimes with my imaging too, is that I'm trying to get too much in, and then I look at it after the fact and I go, oh, that's actually 2 images, and I just cut it right in half, and then it works because I like all those elements, but they're just not all playing together in the same picture space, but they work together individually. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. So good stuff. Thanks for sharing. Mr. Ira. Hopefully he's still awake. I haven't bored him too much.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, that came out great. I remember when you shot that.
Whoop.
Thank you.
Can you guys see that?
Ira, did you do that with an smartphone?
No. That was my regular camera.
Okay.
Where was this?
That's the bridge going up. That's under the bridge.
Mhm.
Oh, the gears under the bridge.
They just happen to be those colors, which makes it unbelievably great.
You guys can't see.
Now, I
my
will say,
screen.
since I submitted this, I cropped off a little bit on the left. So I come up just to the left of the gear down there.
So like here.
Yeah.
That's neat.
You
Yeah.
then put it in Photoshop Elements or no?
What?
The photo?
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay. Did you do some post-processing in Photoshop Elements?
Well, no, it would have been Photoshop, but yes, I always do post.
You always do.
processing.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
learning something about that.
Just your normal though, right, Ira? Just kind of enriching the colors and bringing it back to what you
Yeah,
saw.
I sharpened it a little bit and I
Yeah.
added a little bit of color.
How much did you take off? I wouldn't take too much off because I really like this gear, this piece
Well,
that
I
bolts
took
on
it
there.
off about the way that you did it, just to the edge of the
Okay.
gear.
The other thing would be maybe this piece here on the right. This one right here. See that?
Okay.
Just a thought, nothing.
Yeah, I
maybe
did that also. I took
Yeah,
them
okay.
off from both sides.
Yeah. Really cool. All right. So you showed me this while we were there and I saw the bridge up. It was just cool to see the gears. Maybe just give us a little bit about, what you saw, what you're intending on capturing and that kind of thing.
Well, what I loved about this picture is, yes, the colors, but more importantly, I like the texture. I like the triangles. I like the circles, the wheels. I like the whole complexity of the photo.
Yeah. Yeah, and those complementary colors are great. And it's nice because there's not a lot with the orange, but with the blue, there's not a lot of distracting elements in there at all. There's a lot of elements, but they're all in the same tone, more or less the same color, and they all play really nice. So those orange gears really pop along with the black ones that go up over the top, right? I mean, you just feel the texture in there? So awesome. So
Adrian,
cool.
this is with 600.
I
This
know.
is with the zoom.
We're shooting with the same camera and it goes all the way out to 600
Isn't that amazing? Because that was
Yeah.
a pretty good distance over there.
and handheld. It's just amazing.
Now
Yeah,
I
Ira,
took
how
this.
much?
I
How
took
much-
this from the left side of the bridge and from the right side of the bridge. And this is from the right side of the bridge. And I like the way that the wheels are facing to the left at an angle.
So from the
I-
south part.
I agree with you, because the one you showed me was on the left side when we were over there by the gazebo.
Yeah, I like this angle better.
How much is this more or less what was in the camera, or did you crop to this?
No, I think that this is pretty much what was in the camera.
Yeah, so great little composure or composition on this. Um, did you try, let me ask you a question. Did you try to include, and I don't know what's underneath here, all of the orange underneath?
I didn't mind that the bottom of the orange and
Yeah.
the bottom of the blue isn't there. It doesn't, it's the rule, what is it, the rule of continuation or something like that? You know,
Yeah,
it's
but I'm just
so
wondering if
difficult.
you additionally shot that as well, just to take a
Yeah.
look at it.
I think that that was my original photo. I didn't take
Yeah.
anything off.
It's really cool. All right, so before I talk about it, let's jump to the next one because he's added an additional one here, and we'll have a little discussion on that. All right, so talk to us about what you did here versus this one.
Well, the colors here are absolutely gorgeous, but I think that what's really important in the picture is the texture. The texture that you have and the wheels and the triangles and I figured I'd try it in black and white. And I like the way it came. I don't know which one I like better, but I do like them both.
Yeah, what's very interesting about this, watch this part of the gear, right? And the blue here, right? And watch when we go back, look at how the contrast is great between these two. And then when you go, and you probably darkened it a little bit, but
Actually, after I sent this to you, I lightened it up a little bit.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, this one, look at how much those gears pop, but look at how much the gears pop here, the orange ones, right? They still have a good pop to them. So just two different, totally different feels on the image space, right? This one you get caught up in the orange and the blue and that type, but this one you really are concentrated on the textures and how the tones between the black and the white really pop out.
I think the texture is more obvious in the blue.
In the blue here, because
Yeah.
you can see this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the little
Yeah.
rivets and
Yeah.
I'm a black and white person, but for this one, I just think that the texture shows up more in the blue.
Well, again, I did lighten it up a little bit, which does help that.
Yeah. Well, so what I really like is your positioning, right, where these are and how it all really flows in there really nice in the picture space. With the orange gears, how you have some separation there between the two of them, right? Because if you're further over to the right, they will overlap a little bit more. So I like your space in here where you can actually show these green brackets that hold them in place. So I like your positioning there versus being more to the right and having this eliminated and overlapped. And then just the flow of these lines of the black greasy, teeth on those gears, I think have the most texture out of everything on the image. You can just feel how they're just gooed up with good stuff on them. Can you feel that? Like with a little grime
Yep.
and dirt there. So I don't have too many other suggestions. You already talked about maybe cropping a little bit off the right like you did and on the left. And maybe an additional image seeing the complete gear of the orange and just seeing how that feels and how that looks. Not that that's bad, better or worse, just a different look. But I like what you zoomed into and didn't include because there was other things that were around that maybe not add to the picture space. So really cool.
Thank you.
And the gears being at the bottom, weighted at the bottom, and those lines going up, it just has a really good feel to it. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool. I like how you do the black and white. All right, we have Miriam with us.
Yes.
I'm here in the corner.
Mhm,
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
mhm. Nice.
All right, I remember you shooting this stuff.
Right.
All right, talk to us a little bit about what you were seeing, what you're trying to accomplish, whether you accomplished it or not, what you're thinking as far as design elements and those type of things.
Well, it's a flag on a boat, and you don't necessarily need the boat to show the boat, but I wanted to emphasize the flag and the importance of patriotism. And I tried to get away some of the highlights off the railing, which were detracting from it.
Mhm.
I normally do not center things generally. I tend to put things off to the side, but because it was too close, you know, with the that I wasn't far enough away to get more on the side, so I just left it. It's very rare that I put anything in the center, but the only thing in the center really is the pole. I mean, the
Yeah.
flag does go off to the side, and I like the way the wind blew at that moment in time, and then of course I try to accentuate the reds and the blues in on one and in Photoshop. And for some reason I had noise from the sky. I don't know why, but I had to take care of that too. But I felt I needed to leave a little bit on the top because I needed some space so that that the flag is going forward,
Yeah.
up in the air. And I may have cropped out some of the bottom because I didn't need it. You don't need to see the boat.
I really enjoy it. I remember you shooting and you showed me a couple examples while we were there. I agree with everything you said. Everything. The pole in the middle is all good, right? Because it balances it. Imagine if it was over to the right, right? We would be off balance. Or if it was over to the left, the flag would be clipped. And I know you had a couple where the flag was blowing that way and it just didn't work,
No.
right? I think your choice of this one is great. Excellent. I love where you cropped it, where you brought it in. I agree with you on the highlights. Some people would say, well, maybe we should have a little bit of a railing here, but I'm okay with it being clipped like that. A lot of times I talk about edges and it's just clipped off. But I'm okay there. Would a little space be there? Okay. Yes. If you had a little blue here too, that would work too. But then guess what? This is off center, right? You'd have to add some here. And then that brings in this railing down here. And we don't want that railing in there
And
because
there
I
was
think
some
that,
there
yep.
was some stray like some rope that
Okay,
was
perfect.
yeah, I got rid of that. The little rope that was hanging off of it. Because
Your
it wasn't
space up here is great. Your balance of the flag is excellent. The color is excellent, right? It might be a hair noisy a little bit, but that's okay. This loop is really nice. It feels comfortable in there. I think you did a great job in composing this. I really do.
Thank
I
you.
Why
like
would
that
you
the
get
flag's
noise
not.
on, sorry, why would
What's
you
up?
get noise on a beautiful sunny day? I thought you get
Because
noise like with a high ISO.
it's the same camera. It's the same camera that Ira and Adrian have, but I had a polarizer on, which tended to darken things. So I think that's maybe why I got the noise. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
'cause it's,
Adrian doesn't use a filter. Ira, do you use a filter on that camera?
No,
yeah, because there's a little noise on the railing here, right here.
Yeah.
Obviously up here, but I'm okay with that. It gives you what I like about this background actually versus a pure blue, clean one is that it gives you a little texture. It's almost like you put a texture behind it. It gives a little bit more to it than, and I know that wasn't probably your intention, but I think it works really well here actually. The only thing is like this railing has has a bunch of noise in the shadow here.
Yeah, I know.
And some programs you might be able to eliminate some of that, but overall, I think it's a very pleasing, very aesthetically nice image. And I agree with you on that. Don't like to really put things in center, but this is one of those exceptions where it really works.
Yeah.
because that's the only element in the center, but it really balances everything. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And then
And
including the space on the top, just enough space, right?
yes,
It's actually quite perfect up there.
right. And I did run it through Nick Define about 3 times to get rid of it, only
Yeah.
selecting out the sky because you don't need to take any texture or anything out of the flag.
No. No, I'm just wondering about this little line right here. You see that?
Where?
Only after you said something.
Yeah, I know, right? Now,
Where?
I get into the nitpick
Oh,
mode,
you
right?
mean at the top, that
No,
white?
no.
This little line right here next to my drawing here, it's almost like it's a hair. Do you see that there?
Oh, yeah, I
didn't
could
see
take
it
it out.
before.
Yeah.
I
Right
could
here?
take it out.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Neither
No,
did
and I didn't see it till just now. Like I get in that phase where I go this and I work the thing, and now I'm like, okay, now let's get way in there and like nitpick a little bit, right? And
Yeah,
so I didn't see it till then, right? There's no way you're gonna see it, but just the one over here is smaller than the one on my other screen, which is really large, which is what you guys are seeing. It just looks like it's a hair or something. Hard to tell.
Or it could be
What-
dirt.
Yeah, so just food for thought, but
I'll take it out. It's
Um,
easy.
Brenda has a question.
yes, Brenda.
Okay, so Todd, being a novice, but in intermediate group, which I shouldn't be, but that's another whole story, which I will not go into. What is noise?
Okay, so noise. So
Like,
So do
I
you
look
remember?
at that. Yeah.
Did you shoot in the film days? Did you shoot a film camera ever? Where you
Uh-huh.
put the film in and you rolled it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you chose your film, you chose different speeds based on, right? You shot 100 if it was bright day, 400, you go up to 1600 if you're inside, those kind of things. So your ISO on your camera is that same thing, right? So it's the speed of your film. Okay, so what happens in lower light situations, in order for you to get proper exposure, if you think about the triangle, right? The photographic triangle, you've got 3 legs. You've got aperture, you've got shutter speed, and you got ISO, wherever they're lying on that triangle, right? So in order for you to get that proper exposure right in the middle of the triangle, all those have to match up to get your, medium 18% gray, the whole thing right in the middle. So if you change your aperture and you increase, or you take light away, so you are actually making it smaller, so a higher f-stop, so you go up to f11 or f16, so you're closing that hole, so you're taking light away. Well, one of the other legs you have to move to compensate, to move that back over into the middle to get the proper exposure. So what happens when you're in lower light is you're either cranking up your ISO, right, or your shutter speed. You're making it slower. So what happens in those mute tones, those like the blue sky or shadows and stuff, you're going to get noise. And what noise is when you're talking about the RGB, right? Red, green, blue. You ever notice, like you see on your TV sometimes back in the day, you'll see all those little dots of different colors. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that is. That's what
Gotcha.
noise is. It's
It's like
trying to get light, but it's just kind of making up light and filling in those spaces. So that's what the noise is. It's those little specks.
So is it
Right.
on the right hand side of the Chrome?
Of what?
Yeah, well, I can't touch it because
So right here, if you look right here in the
Okay.
shadows,
gotcha. Okay, thank
this
you.
right
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
between
I
those
see.
lines has some noise, right? Over
Okay.
here, see, it doesn't right here,
Gotcha. Okay.
right?
And
Mhm.
to me, it
So-
looked like sand.
Yeah.
So if you've got low light and you're shooting your house, like a plain wall will have more noise than when you have detail. You'll see it more. It might still have noise, but you won't be able to differentiate it because those plain tones, you'll be able to see it a lot better. So that's what noise is. So when you have lower light situations, or for instance, what she had was a filter on, and that's the same thing, right? We've talked about long exposure, those type of things. You want to slow your shutter speed down, but that's going to increase where you're going to get a little bit more noise. So when you have a polarizer on there, you're cutting light away. So in turn, the ISO is really what happens is you're cranking up your ISO. So it's making your sensor more sensitive to light. So it's trying to pick up little lights. And so it's writing little lights that it's not really there, but it's seeing. And then it's writing it to your picture space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I know
It's a
it's kind of a
beautiful
long
picture,
drawn
though.
out thing, but hopefully that's kind of
Yeah.
a
No, thank
layman's
you.
terms to describe it. But that's what, when
Yeah.
people refer to noise, that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's usually contributed to low light and your ISO setting. So the higher your ISO, so if you're shooting at 6,400 or 10,000, you're gonna, because you need to add more light, so you're actually making your sensor more sensitive, and that's when that comes into play.
Oh, no,
Well,
it's a gorgeous photo.
Yeah, so
And-
write that
and-
down. We're having a quiz later.
Yeah.
Right?
And that camera has a smaller sensor, that Sony camera, than
Yeah, so
normal
that-
DSLR. It has a
Yeah, so
1-inch
that'll add to
sensor.
it too, right?
So
So it's
I
got
just
to
want to say,
compensate for it.
this is Adrian. I just want to say something about this picture because I think that with this whole topic about designing what you include and what kinds of things you choose to be part of the image, the curvature of the railing enhances the boldness of this pole.
Yeah.
And I just think that the two things together, the curve and the straight, make this picture really special.
Yeah, imagine it without that, right,
Yeah, no.
Adrian? Like if
Yeah.
it was just the
Then it's
pole and the
static.
flag, what would we wouldn't, it would be okay, right? But it's great that that element adds to it, and the curve, and it wraps. It's like you just have a good feeling, like, oh, we're wrapping around the US flag. Like
Yeah.
it has just good symbolism to it.
Todd, the only thing that I would do with this photo is take off about a 1/16 of an inch on the left, so you don't have that bottom bracket in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know, because then it leaves that part of the railing floating. And I
Yeah,
just think
but
that
it-
anchors it a little.
It
Yeah.
complements the bottom railing.
That's a good point. You know what I mean? Like just like that
Yes.
versus
Yeah, I like
that.
it with it in it.
Yeah, I do too.
It's that whole thing of knowing that there's more out there.
Yeah, I mean, notice that, right? With where that doesn't have the same stability, that curvature, than when just that little piece there
Mhm.
says, oh, it's the same as this, right? And I mean, you can maybe take it off or include a little bit more. Those are other things. And like I said, maybe you could add just a little bit of space there. That would be okay. But just seeing that, like I know I talked to you guys a lot about my shooting.
I'm
is
in.
I shoot on feel, right? So what's feeling right? And I just really believe that's a good place to come from, is, do I like the way this feels? Does it feel right? Is there something off? And then trying to figure out what's off on it.
No, what? Oh,
Thanks
oh,
for
well.
sharing.
Virginia, we can hear everything. You have to mute.
I put her on mute.
Oh.
Adrian's all over it. But thanks, Miriam.
Thank you.
All right, Susan.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
What is-
This is when we were walking down by the boats. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
This is when we were walking down by the boats, and I saw this boat with the blue lines interspersed with the white, and a hose rolled up. I cropped the left side of the photo. I could not get out this circular piece. So what I decided to do
This one here?
was, yes, I could not get that out of the photo while still concentrating on the hose. So I went into Photoshop and did something called cutout, and it at least softened that piece a bit. And so this is the way I'm presenting it, with the filter cutout. I really like the circles versus the blue and white. Not really straight lines, but just a little bit curved lines. Anyway, I liked it.
Yeah, I like it too. I had sent you a email. I don't think you saw it because I was asking for the original because I wanted to talk to the folks about exactly what you're saying, showing where you went from that to this filter. So I think that would be kind of cool to see. But with that being said, I like the filter that you put on here. I think it's really cool. I think that it really emphasizes the shapes a lot more that you have in there, the circular hose, and then like you talked about with the blue. And I love the sense of angle you have with the blue parts of the boat, right? What was this filter called again, Susan?
Cutout.
Cutout, it's called. Do you usually play with a bunch of filters, or is this something on the phone, or is this something?
No,
on the program?
it's in Photoshop Elements.
Okay.
I play with them more since I'm trying to be a better photographer.
Okay. So I love the positioning of where the hose is. This is awesome in here. Big predominant element in here with the circle. There's a lot of weight on, I don't know what this black part is. If that's a squeegee or something, I don't know what for sure what that is over there. Do you know?
No,
what that is?
I think this part is a cleat on the boat. See how it's got,
Oh, and that's the
and that's like a
line going
rope of
out.
some
Yeah,
kind.
good call. Good
Yeah, I
call.
see now.
Good call. Yeah, you're right. And is this that dog bowl that we were looking at? Weren't we looking at a dog bowl or something? Maybe?
No, it's not a dog bowl.
Okay.
Let me
Wasn't there
see.
one bowl we were looking at a dog bowl or something?
Let me see if I can.
Maybe it was somewhere else. Anyways, I'm okay with this here. I don't know how bright it was in your original. That's why seeing both of them would be kind of cool. But this is okay here. I like how you cropped it, but it doesn't take away from it. The black has a lot of weight over there in that corner, right? If you squint at it, we talk about our eye going to bright and white and sharp, and then when things are predominantly white, we like to go to the black. So I don't know if that's something you adjusted, but maybe muting it to more of a little bit of a gray might help some of the balance on it. Do you know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Just a little bit, not because it's so stark black that it just pops off that picture space, right?
I think it was that way.
Okay.
I don't think I changed it.
Yeah. But I like your composition of the way you have the hose sitting in there. It feels really nice in there. I mean, you can play this now that Adrian mentions it's a cleat in there. I totally see that, and that's really cool. This part right here. I mean, we talked a little bit about pictures within pictures, right? And so just having that cleat or like that, or just having the cleat, right? Those kind of things can be a picture in itself. Or that doesn't really work, but that's just a suggestion. There's a lot of weight down there, but I like your composition of grabbing it. And even with these lines of the shadows of the bars, which I'm assuming that's what those are, play in there too. Maybe having a little bit more definition on the hose in some of these, because right
Well, the
here,
hose was defined better.
yeah,
in the
right here in this
original.
area, see it gets a little bit lost,
Yeah.
right? Right down here.
That's the filter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But right down here and here, oh, we don't want the block. My drawing stinks today. No, but right in here, right, we lose a little bit of the layering because I know there's a lot of layering in here with the hose. But yeah, like you said, it's the filter, right? And
Yeah.
can you tweak that filter? Can you add, like, are they like sliders in there that you can add and kind
No,
of play?
I don't
Yes,
think so.
there are.
There
Usually,
are.
are?
yeah.
Yes.
because I know Ira uses 1 or 2 filters here or there.
Okay, well, I'll try to do that.
But I think up here works well. The only thing is just a little bit, because it's so jet black down there, that it just
Maybe
has a
you
little bit.
could change the color to gray.
Yeah, and you could see the gray on this, whatever this is over here on the left. You could even be darker than that, you know, and see how that feels.
Okay,
But it's not, you know, an end all be all. But I just think that that has a heavy weight to it, and it's not really part of your subject per se. The rope, you know.
right.
You agree with that? Or I mean,
Yeah.
it's only my opinion, so but that's just my feeling on this. For future guys, if we, you know, work together down the line, and I know this is my bad because I didn't really say it to you guys. If you use filters, bring send me the original too, because it's always cool to see for everybody else from the original what and where you went to, and then talking about why you made those choices, because I think that has a lot of good information for other people for when if they're looking to use filters and those type of things. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
No points off though, Susan. You're all good.
Mhm.
Let me ask you a question on one of the, I don't think you included, but we were shooting early on that playground and you were shooting through the thing. Did any of those come out?
Yeah, but I saw a lot of rust on one of the, oh no, no, I didn't like them.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Where the hole was in
Yes.
front and then there was a hole and it kept going back. Yeah. That one was a challenge. That one would take a little bit of time, but I was just curious on that.
No, I didn't like them.
So hopefully some of that information is helpful. I do like the filter because I like how it, you know, but it kind of loses a little bit of that definition.
Yeah,
It's
that's what the filter did.
Yeah.
but I like that it's nautical looking.
Yeah, it is,
Blue,
right?
yeah.
And I do like those bands. You talked about the band blues, but the blue bands. But I like those in there. I like
Yeah.
how, and they're different. The one at the top's different than the one at the bottom as far as tone, right? And then that, I'm just gonna call it a bowl. It looks like a bowl, but that
It's
works
not a
there. It's
bowl.
fine. If it wasn't there, would it be better? Maybe, but it's still not distracting, you know, like the black rope has a little bit more weight to it than that. But the hose is cool and it's just fun stuff. Thanks for playing. I love it.
No problem.
Mhm.
All right, Virginia, you ready? You have to unmute though.
Okay, I'm here.
Welcome to the party.
Thank
Mhm.
you. So far, it's been a lovely party.
Right? All right, give us a little background on as you were looking
Okay.
through your camera, what you were
Well, I was
seeing.
taking the sidewalk going over to go under the bridge to the other side. And I saw there were 2 palm trees next to each other, but I didn't see the trunk for one of them. So I went back and I looked and I repositioned and put myself so that was the trunk of the tree. I thought it was kind of cool.
Really cool.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, how fun is that?
Yeah. I would have liked more of the fronds on either side, but if I did that, I would have gotten the tree next to it, which was unsightly.
Yeah, so those are those choices, right? When we're in the field that we have to make and decide, okay, I can't really bring any more on the right because then it brings in this element and that's not
Right.
adding to, right? It's taking
Right.
away from what I'm trying to accomplish. And so with what you just said, I think that you made a good choice. If on both sides or either side there's going to be some distractions there. I think it works really well, right? This is another one that works really well right up the center. All good. And I think you positioning yourself you know, where how much of that top of the light are we going to push into the palm, right? The top of the palms. And where's that going to be and how's that going to sit? And I think that it plays really well there.
Thank you.
And then just, you know, maybe shooting additional ones, moving down and shooting more up, or trying to step back maybe a little bit and getting it a little lower. I don't think lower works, but maybe more
I
up.
did all of that. I moved all around, up and down.
Yeah,
all
okay,
around.
good,
This is the
good,
best.
great. And that's what I love to hear, because that's working the subject and then ultimately finding the one that feels the best and that works, you know, for what you're trying to accomplish. I love it. I
Thank
think
you.
that you could maybe play with the top a little bit, having one where you include space of the sky up there, or also even coming down even more. These are just works, right? And I'm not saying it needs to be that way, but to your point of, I tried it different ways. And so then also with the top of the palm, you know, having less, right? Which I don't think really works. Maybe this, maybe, but also playing with it where you add a little bit of the sky up there too and see how that feels.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay,
and
good.
That way I got the top of the frond, but it made the sides look cut off.
Okay, perfect. See, look at you. I
Yeah.
love it. This is what I love to hear, right? Like you literally work through exactly what I would have worked through, and you came up with this, and I think it works magically. I think it's really great.
Thank you. I was hoping you were going to show my flag, but this one's fine.
Well, we got a couple for each. So
I love the texture in the glass.
I've got everybody's images, whoever sent and how many they sent. So I have everybody's. So we're going to get to them. But yeah, right. The texture in there, isn't it great? I mean, how well does that work, right? It's just such a great thought. I love that your creativity was coming out in this, where you said, oh, you know what? I can't see the bottom, but look, this light pole, perfect. So it matches perfectly in there. And the light's great, you know, coming from the side. It's not too harsh. It's not direct, right? We talked about light and the different angles of it. So I think it works. I'm not sure though. This just might be my screen. The lamppost is great focus. I don't know how much of the palm tree up there is, it might be a little soft. So maybe, and that might just be me, I'm not sure, or maybe because it was moving, but maybe a little bit more sharp. But it may be that way. I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
it was a little windy.
Yeah. So, but what a great thought. It's really awesome.
Makes you smile.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so fun. Imagine that too, Virginia, like a little bit later when the light pops on too, when it, you know, illuminates, and what that might look like. That would be
I'll go
interesting.
back tonight.
You have to go back tonight, yeah.
Because they may even have lights that go up the palm and light everything up, and then have the glowing ball. It's just something different, but really
Yeah,
great
okay.
capture. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for sharing. All right, we got Zev in the house. You'll have to unmute. There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
Well, thanks for joining the fun in the field.
I just came from pickleball, so
Uh-oh, I can smell you from here. Well, I hope you won.
well, no, I didn't. I should have won, but I didn't.
All right, why don't you give us a little background on it? What you were seeing, maybe some of the surroundings, and what you're trying to accomplish with your composition here.
So this is when we first started looking at the water. To the right was the bridge, and I saw these waves and trash in there, and I saw the leaves, and I thought it was a nice combination of colors, the leaves and the waves in there.
Yeah, really cool. I love it as a nice abstract. Did you
I had
play with
another
this
one
at
that
all?
had a trash bag in there, but I took that out.
You cloned it out, or was it cropped out?
No. It's a second one. I took two
Oh, okay.
similar
Yeah.
ones, And I was going to leave the trash in there. My wife said, no, you shouldn't leave that in there.
Did you do any processing on this?
Nah, no, just made it smaller.
Okay, straight out of the camera, great. Really cool, real cool abstract composition here. I just love, like you described, the different colors, the waves. Look at how cool it is because of the waves, the reflections on it are getting, different tones, right? We got some darker tones and lighter tones. We got some blues in there, right? Which I would imagine is probably the sky. And then obviously the leaves and some of the other garbage in there. Couple suggestions. I really like this area right here where the blue and it has some cool lines. And I know you did a square crop. I'm just wondering what's over to the left here, because I'd like to maybe even see a little bit of more of that pushed in towards the center a little bit. From a weight standpoint, because I really like that. I love this. Let's see, let's get a line in here so you guys can kind of see. But I love this flow in here, how it comes and winds through right there, right?
Yeah.
And these different shadows, different tones here versus these here. But this right here, I'm really intrigued by this. Same with this guy right here, because it's got just the blue and it's popping a little bit there. So having that where it might, move more into the center here and putting it more here. I don't know what's over here, and I don't, I'm not there, and I can't make those choices. But this I think is an element that my eye, when I look, it comes in here, but then it wants to go here, right? So if you close your eyes and then look at the screen, where does your eye tend to go? I think my eye tends to go here, and I follow, but then I'm ending up over here.
No, mine goes in the middle to the right.
Mm.
It goes over here.
Yeah, with all the yellow and the browns and stuff.
Okay. See?
But then my eyes are not that good, but
No, but mine aren't either. So it's all in the eye of the beholder, right?
I don't even see the blue. Well, now I see the blue.
Okay, I'm leaving. and,
Okay, Marty, we'll be over soon.
Okay, thank you,
All right, I'll
Todd.
see you in a
I
couple
appreciate
minutes.
it.
The other thing is, I don't know if it's a struggle, but I'm struggling for words on this. But all of this activity up here, and then it's more muted down here. So I'm just wondering if losing that bottom is, and I love it. That's the thing is.
Yeah, I had a problem with that because it looked good down there, so I didn't know what to do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So see how that is versus that, right? So does that bottom quarter down there, is it adding to? Well, yeah, it's adding to, but is it really, we really like this chaos in here, right? With the leaves, and this doesn't, this section doesn't have a lot.
Oh,
But the other thing is what if you go like that, right? So
I like the other way better.
Yeah, but see how the weight, so, but I love this stuff down here. So I don't know if it's leave a little or come up here, but those are just nitpicking thoughts about it, right?
Okay.
And then the other thing is this little spot right up here where this dark spot is, I don't know. I'm just jumping around because it's an abstract, right? So, but those are different things to consider when you're like, okay, what am I going to get rid of? What am I going to keep? Positioning things around. I think maybe the exposure might be able to be turned down maybe just a little bit. Some of these leaves are a little bright. It might show a little bit more definition. And focus, I don't know how much this is in focus. I don't know what you shot this at, but those are just little things. Those aren't a big, huge player because of being an abstract.
My cell phone, that's it.
Yeah, well, I love your eye. I love what you were seeing, and I saw a bunch of your images while you were shooting them. So I'm really drawn to your eye. I think you have a great eye.
Tell the doctor that, he doesn't think so.
What you're seeing out there, yeah. So, well, anything you wanted to add on that? Hopefully some of that's helpful for you.
Yeah, sure.
Just kind of.
Yes, well, yeah. I like
And
it.
you-
When I look at things, I look at the busyness, and maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't look at the busyness of stuff.
No, but you got to go to what you're drawn to, right? And so if you like to embrace busyness, then make sure that you've got the busyness, and you have the busyness here. So, not too much busyness down here, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's
Well,
okay,
the
but
contrast,
I think it's a
busyness
little
on
bit more
top and not so
powerful
busy.
without that down there, don't you? Do you
Yeah.
agree with that? A
Yeah.
little bit? But I
Yeah.
love these patterns in here. So that's why it's a struggle, right? As a
Yeah.
photographer, right? So trying to take your experiences in that and trying to just on a purely compositional standpoint, trying to, perspective, trying to say, okay, compositionally wise, what should I really be doing? And what would be more pleasing, and feel better. Instead of saying, well, I love all of it, so I want to include all of it, which there's nothing wrong with that. But then shooting additional ones as well. You guys will hear that 1,000 times, right? Just keep working the angles, stay with your subject and keep working it. Because I'm telling you, the more you stay with that, you're going to get to even greater images, right? Very few of us can go right in right away, compose, and come up with something spectacular right off the gate, right?
I
It
thought
takes
that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I like your thinking, so don't change that, right? But keep working those subjects.
Okay.
Well, thanks for sharing, Zeb.
Thank you.
Todd, Adrian and I have to go real soon. Can you go through the second batch and just give a couple of seconds on each photo?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, since I'm running the Zoom and I have to be in two places at the same time.
Oh, it is. It's almost 4:20 there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll fly through.
You could leave him as co-host, right? If you have to.
Oh, I guess I could. Let's see
Yeah,
what
well,
happens.
we can go through. We don't have to spend. We can just talk briefly. I mean, you guys are getting the gist of it, right? We'll
Yep.
see how it goes. So, Adrian, here you go. Love it.
Next.
I really like your eye and what you saw. A couple things just to consider is this one line. It might be that sailboat that was over there too. That one of the lines
Oh,
going
yeah.
up the mast, maybe.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I could have cropped that off.
But that's okay. You could take that off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I love the red fire hydrant there and everything. I'm just wondering about the pole right in the center.
Right.
So that's one of the things. I love the shadow.
Yeah.
But this is a predominant element right in the back. But I love where you chose the crop and everything. So those are just two quick hits there. But the color, everything, the focus, everything's great, and what you decided, because that's a huge building, and what you decided to include, I think is really great.
Okay.
So that's funny that you didn't see that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I do
that's
that all the time. I'm so focused on the umbrella and the windows and the fire hydrant,
red
great.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything's great. And then, oh, there's a stop sign over there staring me in the face. So,
Next.
great stuff. Brenda, I love your cigarette butt. This is awesome.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, there it is.
I just love the lines in the shadow.
It's fantastic. I love, and I think I was with you when you were, or at least you showed it to me when we were there. I think you were talking about it. I love what you included. Just a couple suggestions. I don't mind the cigarette butt. Actually, I think it's kind of a cool little thing hiding in there. But it looks like I would try to get this line right here straight across. It's a little bit
Crooked.
lower on
Yeah.
this line. I'm doing it on my other screen. This line here.
Yeah, I was trying to fool with it.
Yeah, so this line here is a little slanted versus being, straight
Yeah.
back and forth like that. Other than that, I think it's great. it's not really on center, which I like. So you're including a lot more, and this isn't distracting. You know exactly what it is. But positioning that actually very vertical and horizontally perfect, I think would make a lot of sense. Maybe, I mean, you could clone out that very easily, this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe eliminate that guy too. But other than that, I think it's a great shot. I really like your composition. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about maybe moving this up, more boards on the bottom, and then moving it down. Those are things to play with. Where am I going to put that? Because it's two images, right? It's not. I mean, it's one image, but it's two elements here. You've got the boards you walk on, and then you got the railing. So moving that, what we would call the horizon, if you will, that board going across here. Try it up high, more interest in the foreground on the bottom boards, or me, you know, I like where it's at, or put it right in the center too and play with that. So then when you get on the big screen, you can see, you know, this is what I really like. So,
Next.
but great eye, great eye.
Thank you.
And maybe you can make this post and this post, the space here and here the same.
The
That's just
same. Mm-hmm.
silly stuff, but stuff to think about, to be aware of when you set up a symmetrical, you know, a shot that's got a lot of symmetry to it. Good stuff. Are we going too fast, or is this all right?
No,
A little
Need a little more
faster, I
speed.
think.
you're
All
going
right,
too
we'll go a little
slow.
faster. Doris, awesome. How fun is that? Gives you a good scene, right? Beautiful. When don't you just want to go sit in those chairs,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you know, I straightened it according to the water because that's what Ann Dignam tells us, but I
Yep.
feel it's crooked when I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So-
so this, well, the side is, right? So when you're at a wider angle, you're going to get some kitty wonkus on the sides, right? If you use Lightroom, there's a tool in there where you can actually draw a line on the building and it'll straighten those out.
Yeah, no, I don't use Lightroom.
Yeah,
But
so
I feel I would tilt it a little bit to the left and disregard the water. But I was just trying to follow what she
so
was
bring the
telling
left down a little bit
me.
or up.
Straighten the umbrella. I would straighten the
Yeah,
umbrella
okay,
and
yeah.
the
So bring the
building.
left side down a little bit. I'm with you on that. I kind of, I almost want, this isn't, you use this shallower depth of field because this doesn't look like it's that much in focus. So I'm thinking having one also with full depth of field in here so that everything's in focus.
Okay.
Todd, I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave you in control. It'll just
Okay.
just go off my computer when you're done.
All right,
Later,
perfect.
I have to go meet those people to set up.
All right, good luck, guys.
Thank you. This was
Whoever's
great.
got to go. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Adrian.
Okay, I'm one of the ones that have to go with Adrian, and I'm the second last one. Could you get to me and then come back?
Oh
Or
my
it is
gosh.
it is
You are
being
asking-
recorded too.
Virginia.
You are asking so much.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
You're welcome. Oh my God, what a great shot. Don't you love it?
That's pretty.
Balance is really good on it. I mean, only a quick suggestion is I think maybe the sun's a little bright. So that's something you could either meter, right, and bring down just a little bit. But I really love all parts of this. I love your positioning. I love the palm on the left. I love the gap around the palm here where you have space. And with this position, you got good space here. It really feels really nice in here. The other thing is, Virginia, is try to get that sun right in the middle of the flag too, because that
That's
would
the best I could
little
do.
bit,
I
and
have
then it would
10
really
pictures
kinda-
of this.
it would be like
Yeah,
the Star Spangled Banner, right? Like it's actually glowing.
Right.
And so,
right. Yeah, I tried
but
to
you
do
might
that,
have
but
one
I-
because the wind
yeah.
was blowing, and you might have one where it actually covered it.
It
But
didn't
really
come
cool
out right,
silhouette,
yeah.
great composition. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you
And you
very
got
much.
clouds in the sky, which is cool. So,
Thank you.
Todd, I
welcome.
hate to be a pain in the neck, but I have to be in that meeting too.
Ira, what the heck? What about me? I want to be in the meeting. No. So
Well, you should.
all right, Ira. Oh, yeah, there we go. So really cool. Good positioning. I love the propane tank over the wall. That's really cool. Just picking out some weird stuff. but I'm glad you shared this additional one because I asked you to bring it. So Ira really liked this composition. One thing is maybe down here to eliminate that, I would just clone it out down here in the corner. You could probably even clone that, the propane out. But he wanted to spice it up a little bit, right, Ira? Maybe you can explain
Yes.
what you're thinking.
Yeah, it looked bland to me.
So he added some color.
And I
fun
got
is
rid of that bottom right.
Yeah, you might need to paint that right there.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of that, I think it's
Fine.
really cool what you did. It's a lot of fun. Right? So the gray, I mean, the gray is okay, right? But look at what the color just makes all the difference, doesn't it? And the red and the green are really complementary, so that's nice. I really like what you're thinking here.
Thank you.
Just a couple tweaks, right? You got some red in here and you got some red on the chair, but I know you kind of rushed through it, so but really cool.
I will be here at 10.
Thank you. I'll see you next year, Todd.
All right, thanks,
Looking
Ira.
forward
We'll
to
be in
it.
touch.
Take care.
You as well. All right, so we've got Eileen. We'll go through Eileen. I know she's not here, right? We'll go through her real quick. How fun is this composition? I think this was at the restaurant there. What's that one called? On the corner?
The Deck 84?
Deck 84. Was that this? Did they
I
have the
don't know.
lights in there? Look at how simple this image is, right? And how the contrast of that light is just great. Eileen, just a suggestion for you on this is I'd probably take these down here off the bottom and I'd just cut it here. See how those kind of, they don't really add to in this little notch. But if you just knock those off, it's awesome. Right? And I mean, you could even lose this up here if you wanted to too. But it just kind of gets it off balance, off weight. But getting rid of those bottom ones, I think would be extremely helpful to balance it. Because this little notch, your eye is going to get drawn to it a little bit because of the way it notches out. This isn't as distracting down here. You guys see that? Doris, you see what I'm talking about, right? How it's just these bottoms. But look at how I preach the simplicity, right? I think that's not talked about enough. Like if you can just make things simpler, those images will really pop off there. Cool stuff. All right, let's see. Ira was next. All right, we got Miriam.
Yes, okay, yes. Okay, trying to
There
close
we go.
VPN. Okay,
All right, so I think the moral of the story is maybe not the polarizer. This
yes,
one's got, see the noise in there? Can you guys all see that?
yes.
How it has,
What
you
about
know,
UV? Should I just put a UV?
notice
on?
you can't see it in the white because it's so bright, but those shadows and those mute tones and kind of thing, it really pops. Did you try to put this in the denoise or the
I ran it through
define?
Nick to noise, define a couple of
Yeah.
times.
So it's something to think about and keep looking at and see and take a look at your ISO. See if you don't in the daylight, don't have it too high, right? If you
No,
can't bring your shutter speed down or lower the number on your f-stop or your aperture, right? So that, and I know that plays with depth of field, but just you have to compromise. But if your ISO is way up because of, you have to have that light, then maybe it's take the filter off, right? Ideally.
okay, could I keep this a UV instead?
Yeah, the UV is fine. It doesn't cut any light.
Okay, then I'll do
Right.
that because it's, I don't have any issues with my Canon 80D with that
Yeah.
noise because of
And there's a
filter.
lot of discussion about UV filters. It's not another, piece of glass that can distort or what have you. But I think it's a good, I'm up in the air. I'm back and forth. I do not use them, but I debate on it because it does protect your lens in case of a fall or something. Instead of cracking the front element, you can always replace the filter too. And that's another little lesson. If you've got a hood for your lens, I'd always put it on because if your camera falls and it hits, it's better to crack the hood than it is to crack the lens. Okay. So I love your composition here. I think it's really great. Couple suggestions, maybe over here on the right, adding a little bit more space, just a
Yes.
little bit
Mhm.
right there. But outside of that, I love, and maybe including the peak. I don't know what's up there. Or I think I'm on it, or just taking a little bit more off of it like that. We
Okay,
talk about edges, right? That seems like
yes.
it's just clipped, but if you come in a little bit more, it doesn't
Uh-huh.
seem like it's clipped. I want to keep this. I would probably crop there and then maybe clone out that wire right there.
Which
But
wire?
what?
Which wire?
There's a little wire right there at the very top that's part of this thing. That's
Oh, yeah,
attached.
yes, I could do that.
Yeah. But or ideally you include it. I don't know what's up there. It might be a dish or something. It might be something that doesn't even add to it,
It
right?
has to do with the bridge, probably.
Yeah. So really cool though. How cool are those? I would play with enhancing some of this saturation on some of these windows because I really love that color.
Uh-huh.
But really
I
cool.
did crop the bottom away.
Yeah,
So
and I like
ended up
that.
trying to keep it the same size, 3 by
Yep.
3. So I cut away some of what's to the right of here, but there really wasn't much. But
It's a really good job. I love what you saw here, and I love the angle of it, right? The sun's coming from our right over our shoulder, and that's facing that way too. So it's got a good angle to it. And I like over here what you decided where you clip this. This is good.
yeah, because the window was crooked over there, so you didn't want to see the line.
Yeah. Great choice. Love it.
Okay, I'll take the extra wire off.
Yeah, maybe take this black, just under this black thing up here, like
Okay,
Hi.
because it's almost at the tip, right? And
Yes.
your eye wants to complete that tip, right?
yes.
Or if you make the conscious effort of just coming in, well, I guess that's not working.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
But
Okay,
coming in just under it like that, right?
Sounds
I
good.
want to include this circle here, so
Right.
just food for thought, something
Okay.
additional. But thank you. Is
Well-
that helpful, Miriam?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
And I will take off the polarizer. Don't need
Yeah.
it for that camera.
You have a good eye. I enjoyed working with you.
Thank you.
And I know it was a tough day, so I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Susan, awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, who cut up that flag?
Okay, it's a windsock, Miriam.
Yeah, it's a windsong.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody would arrest you if you
so-
brought the flag up.
I like this. I think I converted it from a horizontal to a vertical. But I like it as a vertical.
Yeah, love it.
And it kind of forms a triangle. If you look at the pole and the
Yep.
flag, it's almost triangle-ish.
Yeah, that space right in there, right?
I didn't like the solid blue, so I put a filter on it.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind.
I do not mind. I was going to ask you about that because
It's called film grain.
yeah.
Oh,
And that's what gives whereas Miriam's was
noise.
for one reason, this was purposely done
Yep.
because there was so much solid blue around it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The other thing you could do too is you could have some fun with it too. You could find some like star textures, right? And have them really faint back there. These are just some ideas.
Very.
Or I don't know if the stripes would have, but little stars that matched the flag, the stars on the flag, and have them faint. The other thing is they have filters where you can add some clouds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you where just that plain, because there was no clouds, there's very few, but that plain blue sky, right, is really hard. It's like having a gray sky, right? It's very similar. So not having any texture in there or any interest is really difficult. So I like your thought and what you did on it. And so playing with some cute little different textures can work, right?
Yeah.
So the play off the flag with the stars could add some fun in there, depending on the spaces. But I like your choice of what you did. I love the angle. I'm good with the pole being on an angle. It's a little bit on an angle. I think it would be a little different it'd be interesting to see if this was, when this was straight up and down,
Mhm.
what it would look like.
Yep.
But I'm okay with it because it's almost, we talk about that oblique, you know, having your stem on an angle versus straight up and down. It's like you caught it in the wind. Well, the sock is blowing in the wind, so it feels like there's a sense of motion in this picture with
Yes.
that flagpole being on a slant. So I like that.
Yeah, I like what's going on down below with all the ribbons
Yeah, here,
flowing
right?
and
Yeah.
blowing.
You could probably take a little bit off up here, to be honest with you, a little bit,
Yeah,
you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you may want to hold this constraint, you know, this ratio, but you know, maybe like a little bit, maybe in there somewhere, kind
Right.
of thing. Not
Yeah.
too much.
I
That's
love it.
just thoughts, but just a little bit, right? Not,
Mhm.
you know, because that's too much. That's too crowded. So just a little bit, giving you some space, because the flagpole's pointing up, so you want to have a little more space up there. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Virginia, we did. All right, Zeb, you here? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
All right, talk to me. You like the square crops. I like it.
Yeah, this was this was all green and I switched it to black, so it's more even.
Yeah, so what is this? Is this like a fence or?
Yeah, it's a little up on top. There's a tree, and this hangs down from the top, and it's not a fence. It's just fencing around the wall, and
Okay,
there's trees
yeah.
behind it.
Yeah, really cool.
Okay, what's the number?
All right, so a couple suggestions on it. I think playing with it playing with the tones a little bit. So taking the shadows and stop me if you don't know what I'm talking about. But playing with the black point, we're making the blacks a little bit deeper, but also bringing the highlights down a
All
little
right.
bit. So it's not so contrasty, you know, in here, you see up here with this
Okay.
leaf.
Where's your hand?
I
Where are
recall.
you?
Okay.
Oh,
Here,
okay. You need
hold
a
on,
bigger. You need a bigger mouse.
here, this right here. So
Oh, okay.
it's a little bright, right?
Yeah.
So bring it down, and same with right here, just bringing down the highlights a little bit. I don't know how much post processing you do. But you could play with the curves or play with the shadows in the black point, and you can enrich some of this and adding a little bit more structure or detail or texture to it, and just playing with it and trying to see what happens. I really like what your composition is here with this right in the center. And it all fits, and the square crop absolutely works here. Absolutely. So really cool stuff. But just playing with maybe the exposure, just trying to get a little bit more definition out of some of that. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
I guess so. I mean, I'm new to this stuff, but
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much post-processing playing you do.
well,
I think,
all I did is change it from green to black.
yeah, okay. So what do you just do everything in your phone, or?
And no, I did it on the program we bought.
Do you remember what it's called?
They all have them.
Lightroom or
No, the other one.
Photoshop?
Photoshop Element.
Elements?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when you call up your image, there's sliders over there that you'll see shadow and you'll see highlights. And you'll see, because what did you do? You just click the button and convert it to black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So try playing with some of those sliders and just seeing what happens, and playing with the exposure a little bit, and just see how you can adjust some of those deep blacks and make them a little bit deeper, play with some mid-tones. But
Okay.
that's just a little bit, because the highlights are maybe a little bit bright. So kind of getting those into check there, so it's not so dramatic on the dynamic range, if that makes sense.
I
Okay,
think you find it under adjust lighting, the,
Adjust lighting.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, I'm not
okay.
familiar with elements. Thanks, Doris. So just play and just what's great about it is you can slide it, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you can double click on the slider and it'll go back to 0, or you can just move it back to
Right.
0 and it'll go
I've
back.
played with some
So-
other ones and they made it too dark or too bright.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So just those slight, just playing with it a little bit. But I love your composition. I think
well, I
it's
want to
just
get
great.
to you in time. I was working on it just before I had to come to you. So
Yeah, so good. Well, I like when people don't work them too much because I like to talk to them about it and then give you guys some ideas. So
that's not a
Perfect.
problem. I never work on them too much.
okay, good. Right? It's hard to find the time, right?
Well, I'm only retired, but otherwise I have too much,
So all you have
I
is
got-
time.
I got
Too much
pickleball,
pickleball.
photography, and I got bocce.
Yeah, you got to
and
cut
I
back
got-
on the
I
pickleball,
got
buddy.
all this stuff to do. You're cutting into my time.
Too much pickleball. All right, so real quick, I know there's only a couple of us left. Adrian added a couple more she wanted me to pick, but this is one of the ones she did. How cool is that? Real cool, right? Thinking about shapes, like how many triangles can you find? Like that's fun. I really like it. And you can play with your focus here. I like that this focus is in here. It'd be cool to see everything in focus too, but look at every triangle. There's so many different triangles, right?
Yeah, I helped him.
So really cool. This is another one. Is this Miriam's, I think, maybe? I don't know if she's with us, but another one where you guys were all there for the playground. Really cool. One little suggestion maybe is, I don't know how much that plays. If you guys can see, I think the arrow, but how much that background plays in here. So if you take your foot zoom or your foot and go to the left, go to the right and shoot back, right? Shoot back at it so that these holes come over this blue over here, right? So you don't have those, because then this background would come behind this yellow right here. Does that make sense? Are my drawings confusing you?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I think
so
those were the holes from the first picture, maybe.
yeah. So if you're looking straight at it, right, and then you move yourself to the left, to the right, and you shoot back to the left, you would eliminate this bright spot back here and you'd have blue filling those holes. I don't mind this holes down here, but maybe this is a little bright there, but everything else is really cool in there. And then Adrian shared another one. She wanted to give me all her shots. This one was kind of cool late on. Kind of fun with the blue there. I like how she put it in there. And then the best picture of all is is Ira ordering pizza. We didn't get everyone in. We needed some photographer, but just some great stuff. It was such a fun day. And I know I lost a bunch, but just so you guys know, if you're interested, I'm going to be back by you on the 19th through the 23rd. We're going to do birds and wildlife. It's an all immersive experience. We're going to do much like we did. I'm going to give you guys some information. We're going to go practice it, get feedback. We're going to do that every day, multiple times during the day for 4 days. We'll go to Wakadahachi and Green Cay and some other, we're going to go up to Peaceful Waters. We're going to do some other things. So if you guys are interested, I still have a couple spots open. I know you guys are local, so pass on to any of your friends. But you can go to the website or scan that. So nettlehorse-images.com. And then that's all I got.
I just wanted to let you know that I sent you the original of the hose picture.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. It's
have
in your
time?
email.
Should we take a look at that real quick?
We can.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'll be nice, thank you.
See if I can get it right up in there. Thanks for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. I made the
We're
song.
gonna put it right in there. Let's see.
Yes, that's 45 minutes. I can absolutely do that.
Okay, there you go. All right. Let me see if I can find oops. La 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 la. All right. So there's that one, and then
Yeah.
here's the original.
If that's the original.
Oh, I see. So it's a chain thing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how cool is that? Oh, I could see how
So
that.
see,
Not
the
a lot
rope
of
was
definition
black.
in there. Yeah,
But
and there's not a lot of definition in the hose here, right? So
No.
when you go back and forth, right? Is it gonna
yeah,
do it?
so go back and forth.
Yeah. See how we kind of lose it? I get it.
Yeah,
But
we
I
lose.
like your crop. I like how you decided to take this out.
Yeah, I took that out and
Yeah.
made that half.
Yeah. Really cool.
I need that.
Yeah.
So the hose actually had a blue stripe on it?
Yeah,
Wow, that's a nice hose.
yeah,
Yeah.
very nice hose.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little more definition here,
Yeah. A little bit. But I
but
like what you did. I really like what you did.
yeah,
Yeah, I see how it's all black and there's not much you can do. But see how there's a little gray in here and the
yeah,
so it's just that's just a thought. It's not I really like what you did.
okay, thanks.
I really do. I just love your choice, you know, of cropping that and just taking that out right there.
Right,
Right? It
yeah,
works.
it looked a lot better.
Yeah,
I
look how
also, I
how
cropped some off
distracting those both are
I cropped some off the bottom too.
a little bit. Yeah.
If you go back,
Yeah, okay. Yep.
see that?
Yep. Yeah. So you took a lot of this railing or whatever this is. Great choice. Love it.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
fun. I like how you're getting creative and you're thinking, oh, I could do this filter with it, or I could do this, right?
Yeah.
So does anybody
Well, I
have
did it because I didn't like the looks of this chain thing on the left.
on the left? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's part of the anchor.
Yeah.
Does anybody
And that-
have any
And that's
questions?
it.
Yeah. Trying to
Thank
find
you
it.
very much, Todd. It
Thank
was
you very
great.
much.
Thank
Let's see
you.
if I can. There we go. Okay.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Listen, it's always an absolute pleasure to work with you guys and see you guys. It's been such a great, awesome relationship. I enjoy each and every one of you and seeing
Thank
how
you.
you guys have progressed over these years that I've spent with you guys. So hopefully we can continue some fun. And how many of you guys are in this show that's tonight?
Yeah, all of us.
We all are.
All of us.
All of you. What time does that start? 5?
No, it's going to be the whole weekend from 10 to 4,
voting is
Saturday and
tomorrow.
Sunday.
Okay, so
Voting is
tomorrow.
tomorrow. They're just setting up for it.
Okay. Do any of you guys have to go help or anything or no?
And some people are going to help.
Yeah. Oh,
we
I
have
wish you guys
different
all the best.
shifts.
It's so fun. I
Mhm.
can't wait to hear about it.
It's a little different this
Um,
year than last year.
So
because,
Todd.
Is this an
if
annual
you
thing?
could-
Yeah,
It
we do
is,
it
but the
annually.
last 2 years, because of COVID, we just did it online.
Yeah.
And now we're back to having a real show.
All right,
Right, but
good.
we don't have a creative category this year. It's all the pictures in, and this way, you know, you didn't have to segregate things out by, you know, by that category.
Is
And
there
I
a
don't
grand
Everybody
prize?
I
enters
don't think they
six
separated them out
pictures.
by beginner or intermediate either.
Is there a grand prize?
Oh, we get ribbons, yellow ribbons and blue
Ribbons and
ribbons.
points. You get points. If you
first,
get,
second,
if you
third?
get so many points, you move to the next level.
Uh-oh, are you guys nervous?
Nervous. We're so
Because
nervous.
I hear a lot of you saying, well, I shouldn't be an intermediate and because it's harder, right? It gets harder.
It is, yeah, I don't like it. I was put
No.
into advanced and I can't
No,
win a
quit
ribbon
getting-
anymore.
Quit getting so darn good, Doris.
So I moved to
You did
advanced too.
I
And
can't win a ribbon in
This is-
advance. I
this is
won
my
ribbons in
first
intermediate.
This is my first year. I used to win in intermediate, but this is my first year in advance, so I'm not, my hopes are not up.
Yeah, but you're up for it. I know, I've seen your work.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So Susan, you had a question
Todd.
before I cut you off.
Todd.
Yeah.
Can you send an invoice?
Yes. To you?
Yes, Yes.
She's our treasurer.
Should I triple it? What should I do?
She's the money lady.
Yeah.
You know, gratuities are accepted. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'll send you an invoice.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right. Do you have to do anything for Adrian? Like, can you stop recording or everything will just stop?
We all
when
just leave and it'll end.
Okay, we're leaving.
All
Bye.
right.
Okay.
Hey, best to you. I love you guys.
Thank
Best to you.
you.
Okay. Good
We
luck.
love you
Thank you.
too.
Bye.
All right.
Mwah, mwah.
Bye.